You can spend a whole year A/B testing your meta ads, doing everything exactly by the book, and still not really understand what's actually working at scale. And the frustrating part is that it's not because you're doing it wrong, it's because of what A/B testing actually is, which is a test where you mostly change one thing at a time. Think about how a proper A/B test runs. You change a single element, maybe the hook, maybe the CTA, and you hold everything else completely still so you can actually trust the result. That's a genuinely good way to learn something. It's clean and it's honest, but the catch is that it's slow because each test only ever teaches you one thing. And the creative you're testing was never one thing to begin with. A single video is really a dozen little decisions stacked on top of each other. The hook, the pacing, the music, the CTA, all of them pulling on each other at the same time. So if you go and test them one by one, you're looking at months of work. And even then, you'd miss the thing that matters most, which is how those elements combine. There's a hook that only lands when it's sitting on the right music, a CTA that only converts once the right opener has warmed people up, and a one variable at a time test simply can't see any of that. So the shift is pretty simple once it clicks. Instead of changing one thing at a time, you deliberately test a lot of things at once, and that's really all multivariate testing is. Say you've got 3 hooks, 4 visuals, and 2 CTAs. That isn't 3 small tests, it's 24 combinations all running together. And the math behind it pulls apart which specific element actually moved your numbers and which combinations genuinely click. So instead of walking away with this ad 1, you walk away knowing something like this hook lifts click through pretty much everywhere it shows up. And that's a finding you can genuinely reuse because you've stopped scaling a single ad and started scaling an ingredient. And this matters far more than it used to because Meta's algorithm now handles most of the targeting and the bidding for you, which means your creative is basically the only real lever you've got left. So, how do you actually run this without it turning into chaos? It starts with building your creative in modules, which just means you keep the hooks, the bodies, and the CTAs swappable instead of baking them into one locked video, sort of like Lego bricks rather than a single welded sculpture. From there, you split your budget evenly across the variants so that none of them gets an unfair head start, and you tag every element and tie it back to ROAS rather than settling for clicks. Then, when the test wraps up, the elements that won become the brief for your next batch, and that's really the whole loop right there. You make a smart guess, you test the pieces, you keep whatever wins, and you brief the next round of real data instead of gut feel. And while you're setting all of this up, it's worth drawing a fatigue line as well. Something as simple as tell me the moment ROAS slips 15%, because even your winning elements eventually get tired and quietly start dragging the account down. Now, here's the honest catch in all of this. Nobody can actually run a 24 variant test and then go manually tag every single clip across Meta, TikTok, and Google, because that whole thing collapses within about a week. And that's really where a tool like Segwise earns its spot, because its agents tag every element for you and then maps each one back to ROAS across all your networks. So the loop actually keeps running on its own instead of slowly dying inside a spreadsheet you stopped updating. So if you're still sitting there testing whole ads against each other, the real cost isn't just that your results come slower. It's that your best findings end up quietly buried in the account where you never actually reuse them. So test the pieces instead, keep the ones that win, and repeat it until it starts to feel like second nature. And if you'd rather have the whole loop basically run itself, you can try Segwise for free. Head over to segwise.ai, sign up, and start seeing which elements are really carrying your ads and get ads made for you backed by your winning patterns.